Well, welcome back to Derek Does. This is day 2. Technically, it's a couple days after that. Our previous episode, I filled the tank with Evapo-rust, and we're going to take care of all that and maybe a little bit more. I don't think it's going to need much. I think this one pass may be all it needs because I think it's clean. The tank is clean, like from here down. So we're going to do that today, and we're going to see where else we can go with this. If you kind of like this stuff, please subscribe, comment, let me know if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm doing something right, or if you have questions about this, maybe I can answer it, I don't know. But let's get started on getting this tank dry and see what we get when we get out of it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to drain this. I'm going to put it back into our Evapo-rust container. I was able to find just a little piece of tubing, which is going to make a nice help on this. I'm using this big one I have, and I'm using a coffee filter just to collect any bit of the rust that might be in there. So what we're going to do is just put that in there, and we're going to slowly drain this out using the petcock to get this in here, and then hopefully we can just fill this up like this, which should work fine. I don't have that far to go with it, and that little bit of hose will be great because I don't have to hang on to it. It's just gonna go right in there. All right, so I opened up the lid to the gas tank just so there's no back pressure, and let's open this up. Wow. This is amazingly clean coming out of this. When I did the other Mobylette, I swear it was just rust color, the whole thing. This is actually really clean. The nice thing about Evapo-rust is you can reuse it. So it is expensive. It's like 20 bucks for this gallon, but you can use it over and over and over again. It's not a big deal. So while that's still draining, I'm going to take off this speedometer cable. It's actually just finger tight, it seems like. This way I don't have to take off the whole light and everything to get to it. Look at that, comes right out. So this is what a bad speedometer cable looks like. That's what they look like on the inside. So a good practice that I'm going to start doing is I've got a 5-gallon bucket because I'm going to be taking stuff off and I want to make sure I don't lose anything. I'm just going to start putting everything I'm taking off into the bucket, including the speedometer cable, because I don't know, maybe I need those little end pieces or something. If I just throw it away, then I won't have it. I'm sure I won't need it, but at least to make sure that the new one matches that one, because if I just throw it away, then if I order one, it may not be the right one, because obviously there's different cables for all sorts of motorbikes or mopeds. So I'm just going to put everything in there, including, I started to look at this speedometer that I showed you last time. It looks like it's frozen because I'm pretty sure that should spin. Once I get this all degreased, we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's a piece on the inside that's missing, but maybe it isn't, I don't know. Because there's little pieces of metal in the bag, but that's gonna go in this 5-gallon bucket. And this way, whenever I need something, because you know how it gets when you start just putting your stuff all over the place, you're gonna lose it. So that's just gonna go there. So this looks like it's pretty much done. Actually, I just turned it on reserve for that last little bit like we showed when we were getting rid of the old gas. So right now it's almost finished, looks like. And then we can get on to I can show you what it looks like on the inside. I think it's only going to need one pass, but I'll show you. And while we're still waiting on this, I thought I'd show you what a motor cane is supposed to have in the toolbox when you get it. When you get it new, I guess. This one is the only one I've ever had, of the three I have, that still has all its stuff in it. Here we have, oh, this is a description. Look at that. She kept a little thing of oil, quite old, but a little thing of oil in there so that if she did run out of gas at the gas station, she could squeeze it in. And here it says 1.5 teaspoons. Here, I can't quite make everything out. On a piece of masking tape that ran around it. Looks like 1.5 teaspoons, maybe to a gallon, I don't know. And then, oh, she's got a little 70s bag in there with the stuff. I think originally everything came in a plastic bag, but I'm sure that gets broken. And this is what she had in her bag, which is probably everything that it came with, and maybe she had a little bit more too. So we have 2 tire irons. I think those are factory. We have 2 spark plug, and also this is kind of a bolt too, I guess, tightener. So you have this one, and then you have this one. And I bet that fits, yeah, that fits perfectly on the spark plug. And then you have a device like this, which is kind of a little wrench with also a little pry bar there that fits right onto. And now you've got yourself a wrench, and that fits on. Does that fit? Well, it doesn't really fit on that one for some reason. Oh, I see. So this doesn't fit on here, but this one fits into this one, and then this one fits on there. So now you've got an even longer one for doing that. She's got a regular screwdriver, air check, turn that off. Started to overfill a little bit. This old thing, this might be original to the bike. This is a putty for repairing tires. And then 3 patches. I'm sure that all went together as a new set. And that's everything that's in this set, which is pretty cool. I might actually use this to get the spark plug out. I'll leave this out for now. Won't put it back in. I'll leave that here for the spark plug. It's pretty cool. All right, so I stopped it for now because it got overflowed, and then I thought, look at this. This is the filter. There's like nothing on it. There's just very limited, if any, little speckles of rust. This thing was so clean. So let's finish up getting that last little bit out on the reserve. And then we're going to take out the petcock and do the exact same thing we did before with putting the oil pan underneath it, just to gather any of this leftover. Still dripping out a little bit, just trickling out. All right, we'll put this cover back on. And while that's draining on that side, let's take a look at this carb. This is the original Gertner carb that came with it. That's a 8mm. Let's take that box off. Get that out of the way. I have a feeling this is going to be super clean myself. Now we just have to figure out how to get it off. Oh, I think there's bolts. Are those bolts on the other side? Can't get to it right now with the filter there. Let's remove that spark plug with our new found tools. This should just fit perfectly there. All right. Oh. See, a little dirty. I'll get a new spark plug for this. This is original NGKR from Brights. I'm not sure if that's original or not. Made in Japan, so I doubt it. Pretty sure that's a replacement. Probably because the original probably is made in France, if I was to guess. So we're going to throw that in our bucket for now, and then we'll come back. I think I have a new plug I can pop right in there that once we get this drained and I get the carb just kind of looked at, cleaned out, we should be able to then maybe fire this thing up just to see. All right, I'm gonna take off that. Looks like that's the end of at least this for now. I'm gonna put the lid on this just so it doesn't get tipped over. Here we go on this. Gonna slide that underneath just like we did before. What we'll do, let's get that out of the way. I will get that half bucket I had right there. All right, so I've got this now. They're going to try to catch this while I open this up. And since this wasn't on very tight in the first place, this should, oh, we're going to have to move that to the off position so that can make the turn. And this is where we're going to get, if there is any rust. It looks like there's a little bit. This filter actually did a pretty good job. Look at that. We'll clean that out. That's all the rust really this thing had in it, which is just remarkable. So we're going to do the same, tip it over, and just let her. All right, so we got this out. Let's kind of clean this up. As you can see here, you can kind of really see the little rust particles, and that's the whole purpose of this. Should come out. Not All right, so what I did, I couldn't actually get this out, and I didn't want to hurt it because I figured if I went too far, I was going to break it, and I don't want to break it. So I just put it under the sink. I washed all the rust off, and then I just let water run in here in the regular and the reserve, and it just shot straight out. So I know this is nice and clean on the inside. So what I'm going to do is just wipe her down. And this will be the same on, you know, a stock motorbike. It's the same, it's basically the same fuel thing here. So, but again, this is the ONG made in Italy. Now what I might do is just run a little air in there, give a little, just to blow any water out. See that comes out, and let's go to reserve. And this will open up the other chamber. See that water is in there? And we'll go back to that. Should do it. All right, so we're going to put this back into our tank right there. What I actually use a lot on these is some simple green. It does a really nice job. It's not too harsh. And since we're in there, and this is probably the only time we can really get any grime that might be around that area. So let's put this back in. Actually, let's put it on close so we can spin it. I'm just going to hand tighten it like it was before. That seemed to work. All right, so this is off. There we go. And now we can just turn this on when we need to, and the reserve, and we have room for that to move. Always kind of check that before you fill up to make sure. So let's work on that carb now. All right, to get the carb off, I think we need to go from this side and take off this nut here that's acting as a clamp on the exhaust, or not the exhaust, but this is kind of like a tube running from the carb into the motor. All right, let's pull this carburetor off from this side. We're gonna have to wiggle it. Now, of course, we do have a cable for a throttle is attached to it, so we're gonna have to take that out too. So first, let's get this out, and it should just slide off. There we go. There we go. All right, so we've got two cables that are stuck to it that we're gonna have to take out. We have here, and here we got a little washer in there. We're gonna make sure we gotta keep that. So what we need to do is get a screwdriver, take this off right here at the top. I'm pretty sure that will slide out. All right, we might have to go to a manual to see how to remove those, because I don't want to hurt anything, because I'm pretty sure this carburetor is pretty nice, especially if the bike is this nice. All right, we're gonna add some gas and oil. It recommends 3 ounces per 0.6 gallons, I guess, and maybe this is a 0.6. I thought it was closer to a gallon. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do that. We're gonna use 0.3. I think the other one I put 0.4 ounces in there, but what I did is I have just a used cup that has measurements on it. I'm gonna put 4 ounces in, because I think that's what I did last time. Now the oil I'm gonna be using is this one. It had some pretty good reviews. Pretty high-end stuff. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It was for off-road 2-cycle engines. And we'll just put in, I'll put just a little below 4. There we go. I saw some of this stuff comes in flavors or smells like strawberry and stuff. I don't know if I'd want strawberry exhaust all the time. Doesn't sound too fun. Maybe it is, who knows? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of gas. Here, let me show you. I didn't show you how it looks after. All right, here's after. It's discolored, but it's not really rusty. You can really see the metal underneath there. It did a pretty good job. There's just a little bit of there, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of gas. Just so there's a base of gas in there. And now I'm going to add my oil. Let that drain in there. And now we'll fill back up with gas. Hopefully that'll help mix it. All right, all the way to the top. That way it'll get a nice coating of gas and hopefully no flashing. So now we're gonna fill it up a little too high. We're gonna tip it. Put our gas cap back on. Not crazy about this gas cap though. Fill it a little too high. It'll evaporate. All right, good. So that's nice and full, which may or may not be a good thing. So that's day 2 done. For now, I'm gonna go read up now on getting those cables out of the carb and what I need to do to clean it. Shouldn't need anything. If I do need a kit, if I look at stuff and it is kind of deteriorated, I'll order a kit and then we'll come back to that carb. I do have the Italian carb that I bought for the other bike that I could put on this. The only thing is that tunnel that goes from the carburetor to the piston needs to be shorter on the Italian one. I don't think it fits on very well using the stock Moped because it comes out made specifically for that carburetor. So we're gonna look into that, and then from there I'm gonna see if I can get this running. I got a new spark plug, I'll put it in just to see if it runs. If it runs, then I'll take the motor off, change the rubber bushings so that it's smooth, and do a big major cleaning and set for, you know, brakes and tires and all that stuff. Running is the #1 thing. So if we get it running, it's gonna be fantastic. We're ready with gas. So we have one of the 3 things we need, a clean tank, and then we'll get a clean carb, and then a spark, and then, you know, we got ourselves a moped. So I'll see you next time. Please subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff. Appreciate it. And if you have any suggestions, I'll totally take those under consideration because, again, I'm new to this. This is my only second Moped working on. Then I'll have one more after this, which I'll probably be a little better at it since I've done 2. But I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.